Gotta wait till the little timer starts. Here we go. Welcome in. We are live on another episode of the Calcio Connection podcast. My friends, we are connecting with you, Italian football fans all over the world, and even French football fans all over the world. On this episode, we are going global. We're going all over Europe, my friends. And, you know, as we said when we tweeted out this episode, I want to create more of this vibe when we do the live shows. This is really going to be a party. Anything goes. I know Jerry is probably going to get us banned from the internet. Like we're only going to be on the dark web exclusively. Starting.
It could be me.
It could be George. And let me go around the table and introduce everyone. We really have a star-studded panel here. And as I mentioned this on Twitter earlier, we welcome Jorge Rodrigues back in, who is my French football correspondent. Big Lyon supporter. Pretty much everything I know about Ligue 1 comes from this guy. And George, I said it, earlier today. I have never laughed as hard on the show as when, Jerry and I had you on about a year ago, maybe a little bit less than that, something around a year ago.
Yeah,
and
somewhere
we were talking about Mauro and Wanda Icardi with you, and you had me freaking rolling on the floor. So it's been too long, man. Welcome back to the show. How are you?
I feel like that was the first time you had to censor someone for calling someone the C word. That was hilarious. But yeah, it's great to see you guys again. It feels good to be back. I don't know much about Serie A, so I'm very sorry, but I'm willing to be a sponge today and hear all the commentary about it.
No, and I know you're going to do an awesome job. We're also welcoming in, and this is the first time he's joined us on this show. Of course, I've been on many pods with this man, on Studio Inter, on Sempre Inter, and of course, I support his website, and I support all the work that he does, and the Italian Football Pod is absolutely brilliant that he does with Carlo and with John. Nima Tavallaey Roodsari is with us here. Nima, good evening, sir. I know it's very late evening for you in Sweden. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. It's really good to be with you guys, and thank you for those kind words. It means a lot, and not just you. It's just support from everybody, from Jerry and Richard and Frank and everybody else. It really means a lot. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's our pleasure having you on. And Richard, of course, Richard Kharman, another guy. How many goddamn Calcio crossovers have we done with these guys? And sometimes I can't even remember. Am I on the Serie A sit down? Or are they on Calcio Connection?
Sometimes we host your show.
That's right. You guys hosted our show before. Richard Kharman is with us. Richard, ciao. How are you?
Ciao. I'm doing great, man. This is going to be fun. I'm already laughing, and we're not even started like 5 minutes in, so let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Jerry Mancini is here, my co-host. He is the Batman to my Robin, or the Robin to my Batman, depending on what the hell's going on.
Moses to your Jesus,
And it's good to see Jerry smiling.
Your Caicedo to your Immobile.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm glad you brought that up, Nima. For those of you who are watching us, people might be listening to the replay just on podcast, but for those of us who are watching us on YouTube, Richard Kharman's T-shirt, Caicedo over Immobile. Please tell me I can buy like 100 of those and just like pass them around, neighborhoods near my house just to get everybody. That T-shirt, Richard.
It's gonna sell in Jerry's stores. I'll tell you that.
Hold on. While IFTV is selling Calcio shirts, scam. There is a real shirt, Caicedo greater than Immobile, that people should actually be buying. That is real material.
Jerry's actually endorsing it. See, look at that.
That's real material, okay? That's being original now. That's marketing, guys. That's better. And you know what? If Caicedo gets 8 winning goals by the end of the year and it gets us a top 4 spot, I'll take it. And I'll frame that shirt, man. I'll frame that shirt.
We're recording this, right? We're recording this, right?
I don't care. If it takes Caicedo greater than Immobile to get a top 4 spot, I'll take it. Okay. Whatever it takes, man. That shirt's gold, man. But yeah, this should be a fun night. Nima, it's a privilege to finally meet you.
You too, man.
So
I can't believe it's the first time we're actually doing this because we've been talking for a couple of years now, and yeah, it's weird. It's the first time we actually meet each other like this.
Yeah, and then this is J-Rod's second time, and Richard, I lost count with you. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Richard has actually hosted the show probably more.
Oh, can I ask? Can I make a request? Can I make a request? I know you guys don't do that anymore, but this is the first time I'm on with Jerry. Can we please have a story time with Jerry?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I concur.
Oh, I gotta remember a story first. I need. I hope Joe's watching this episode tonight, man, because he knows all the Jerry Tyne stories he can tell me. He knows better than. Oh man, I can probably pull one up. I'll try to remember one by the end of the show.
Yeah, we're gonna get that in late in the episode, and like
Yeah.
you guys have no idea because. Like, yeah, for like the first 6 months that we were doing this pod, we would get the Jerry Time story every episode. And then, like, we realized, like, he might have been breaking some laws. Like, there could have been statutes of limitations on crimes that were committed. So he like, temporarily stopped telling Jerry stories. But I don't want anyone to think he ran out of stories, believe me, because because a lot of times Jerry would, like, give me the stories in private to vet the stories. And I've heard a couple dozen that haven't even actually made it onto the show.
I'll have to research it in our chat groups now.
Any include donkeys? Never mind. I'll find out later.
And Jerry, by the way, are you doing okay? Because I know that you were watching Europa League today, and you were really hoping that Roma would go down to Ajax. And hey, Edin Dzeko, clutch goal. I know it was technically a draw, but they go through on aggregate today. So Roma moves on to the semifinal in Europa League. Any words from the Laziale? Are you okay with what happened today?
You know what, man? They're going to lose the next round anyways. Nima said it perfect. Carlos said it perfect. You know what? I'll sum it up easy. When you're defending for 90 minutes against Ajax, I don't understand why they're sitting back just defending. Like, I didn't like that strategy. That's personally me. They gave Ajax so many opportunities, and they were very fortunate that that second goal got called back. It was a foul, but they were very fortunate that it turned out like that. For a team like Roma, who has, I think, decent amount of talent to beat Ajax toe-to-toe, should never have played to that strength. Going against Man United, sitting back like that, there's gonna be like history being written all over again, 7-1. So,
by the way, I think it's a Portuguese thing because I feel like Paulo Fonseca is very similar to Jose Mourinho, very defensive, especially when he has a lead.
In Europa League, for sure, it seems like it.
Oh yeah.
I know that I'm really interested to hear what Nima has to say as well, but I just think in general that I don't care if you're up 2-1 on aggregate, and I'm happy. I think they're taking away the away goal rule now next year. Is that correct, or is that something they've been discussing?
180 minutes.
Oh, okay, I don't know. I was reading something about taking away goals, but maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, and you know what? They should take for the 180 minutes. They should take that away because that's only in the second leg. Like you can't get extra time in the first leg, so it's not fair to have it only for the second leg.
I agree with that.
I think that's a good idea too. No, look, for me, the thing that gets me about this Roma, the thing about Fonseca that I think that after today, he has to go. Undoubtedly, he has to go. It's because when you have a manager, when you have a coach who is backpedaling as much as he is, clearly is, because what we saw today from minute 1 against Ajax is he's trying to play a football that he has no idea how to play. And that just made Roma look really, really weird. And they looked weak. They looked disjointed. They looked unorganized. They looked like a team that didn't know what they were doing. Because he's not a defensive coach, and when a coach starts second guessing himself like he does, that to me suggests a guy that is under pressure, that knows that he's not going to be here the next year. I think he basically even said it as much after the game. I mean, I don't think there's any different way to interpret what he said after the game about, well, I don't know if I'm going to be here next year. We'll see. I only care about the present. When a coach talks like that, he knows it. Everyone knows it. He's out. So that's one thing. Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, that's one thing. That's one thing. But then you have the other side of it, and that to me is this notion of throwing shit at the wall and see what sticks kind of coaching. Yeah. And that's what he's done against Ajax 2 games. And to me, that's just he's a good coach. He's just in the wrong league and he's in the wrong team. Yeah. And I think his football would do better, and his football would do better if it was in the Premier League. But above all, La Liga. I think he's made for La Liga.
Yeah.
I mean, La Liga, he's a La Liga coach, and I think that he's actually a coach that could probably do really well in one of the top 4 sides. I mean, maybe not Barcelona or Real Madrid, but one of these other, exactly, or a Valencia or one of these other teams. To me, he's a coach.
He can do Ligue.
Absolutely, Ligue.
Leon's looking for a coach.
Leon.
For a coach.
Or
Let's
Marseille,
go.
Or Marseille, even like Marseille.
Marseille has some Tavallaey.
Yeah, no, but you know what I mean. Like
I know.
That's the way I look at it, and that kind of level, because when the way he gets found out in the Serie A, and that kind of hurts his confidence, and that makes him second guess. And then we saw what we've seen against Ajax. I fear for what's going to happen against United. I think it's going to get embarrassing.
Yeah, it's scary how they got a decent midfield. They actually have I like their midfield a lot. I rate them.
Me too.
And the way they play in Serie A, it's very attractive. But these 2 games against Ajax has been stupid. Why are you playing defensive? You look at the statistics, it's ridiculous. And you're like, what are they doing? You're giving a team who's offensive opportunities to score. I'm like, you're playing with house money. They played with fire these 2 games and got away with it. They're not going to get away with it against United if they do this bullshit.
No. And the thing is that the problem with him is that he doesn't know how to balance his teams.
Yeah.
So if he goes and attacks, which I think he will against United, it's going to get embarrassing. Because if there's anything United can do with those players is to hurt you on the counter.
Yeah.
And with the intelligence they've got, and if you give someone like Rashford space or Martial space or whoever, I mean, it's going to get embarrassing. And this is what I'm worried about, because I feel bad for Roma, because I think Roma deserve better. I mean, on the plus side, this is Roma's 4th. This is their second European semifinal in 4 years. If we're going to zoom out, this is the 2nd year in a row an Italian team is in the Serie is in the semifinal of the Europa League. That's good. That's progress. And also, I looked it up and I saw that now. I saw something on Twitter that now with this result, with Bayern Munich and Dortmund getting knocked out and Roma getting to the semifinal, Italy hang on to that 3rd spot in the coefficients, because it looked like Germany was going to go past them. I mean, but so that's all good for Italian football, but Roma's project needs a life bro. The answer is Maurizio Sarri, and I've been banging on the Sarri drum ever since he left Napoli. Even when he was at Napoli, I was telling John, Maurizio Sarri is who Roma should get, and I'm really excited because it's a sure. I mean, it's going to happen.
I remember when you said that, I thought I was like, that's a brilliant idea, 100%, and. It's embarrassing for Serie A if they do get blasted, because everyone's going to say, oh, Serie A sucks. Look, their best team is getting shattered 7-1, and that's what I don't want to see.
We get that whole time. We get called the Farmers League left, right, and center for those stupid top 6 EPL fans. I get it all the time. I feel your pain. I know that feeling. So for me, I feel like the way Nima's describing it sounds like Paulo Fonseca has a plan A, but doesn't really have a plan B or C or D in case something was that.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. Yep. And if it works, he keeps using the same thing over and over until it doesn't work, and then changes it up again. Sounds like Rudy Garcia 2.0.
And it's funny that you mentioned Rudy Garcia, because that's exactly what Rudy Garcia failed at Roma for and was criticized heavily at Roma for.
And he still is being criticized.
And it's that's the thing with Roma. I mean, that's why John says he loses hair and gets angry. It's like this club drives him crazy that they keep repeating the same thing over and over again.
That's true.
And it's like, and it frustrates him to death. And I can understand that, because it's like when you've watched the movie over and over again, you get kind of tired. But I do think that this new ownership knows what it's doing. I think Sarri is an absolutely phenomenally intelligent choice. And if they can have a mercato built around him, I think Roma are a shoo-in for top 4.
Or even Christophe Galtier, who knows? If he wins with Lille, he could probably get the Napoli job, but that's a whole nother issue. I
have a question about that. That actually can sum up my question I want to ask you guys. Do you feel like a guy like Gautier, I can't pronounce his name, whatever his name is. Gautier. Okay, do you think that he's suited just for Ligue 1 and certain managers are not equipped to take the jump to a different league like Serie A? Like, where we've seen maybe they don't have that skill set to adapt to that league, and they're meant to coach in a certain league and only a certain league? or am I just being a little biased here, or literally blinded? Because I've noticed a lot of managers take the jump to Serie A, and like Nima, you've seen it already yourself. Like so many have failed and not succeed after one season. Like
it's
all mental.
I think the Serie A is the most tactical league, and it's. I mean, Mourinho said that. I remember Mourinho saying that he was exhausted in the Serie A, just the Serie A rounds, because in order to win those points, he had to coach himself to death because the coaches were so well prepared and they were so everything he did they had an answer for, and he was frustrated because he wasn't used to being challenged like that on a weekly basis for 38 weeks. Yep. And that's true. It is a very tactically astute league. It's a very tactically skilled league, and I think it doesn't mean that coaches elsewhere are worse or better. It's just different. It's different. And winning in the Serie A is difficult for coaches because they are so tactically they can suffocate you without, like a boa constrictor, without you understanding how or why, and frustrate you. It's different in Spain. It's different in the Premier League. Obviously, the physicality of the French league is I mean, that's something else. Probably it's the most physical league, I think, in out of all of these. I mean, the French league is just insane for the sheer power of the players. They, it's a technical league, but it's also a very physical league. I think Ibrahimovic said it, that he was not expecting the league to be this physical when he came there. No, he said it. He was like, I didn't expect this, and it took a lot out of him as an athlete. He said to survive in the Ligue 1. But the difference, the flip side is you get a lot of space in Ligue 1, which you don't get in the Serie A. You don't get any space. Space is scarce in the Serie A. For every other thing in the Serie A, you might not have pace, you might not have fluidity, but you don't get space. They just don't concede anything to you, and then that makes it such a difficult league to coach in if you're not prepared. And that's why I think if Napoli bring in a guy from France.
Would language barrier be also a blockage? Because obviously Christophe Galtier does know a little bit of Italian, so it can help him in the short term. Help him out.
It depends. I mean, I don't know enough about him as a coach to say anything either way. But I'm just saying. I mean, was he, to understand and be able to face coaches that play you, that go after everything you do, they have an answer for. That is frustrating to go against. And I don't know if he's the right man to do that in the Serie A, and especially with Napoli, where it's a kind of a volatile club and a piazza that's pretty volatile. And I don't know if I would want to put a young coach, his first job abroad from France, in that atmosphere. I mean, it could go really well, but it could also go very badly.
So like a Fiorentina would be something that he should start off with, something like that.
No, not Fiorentina. No. Did you hear that it's Gattuso that most likely will be going to Fiorentina, and they're willing to like.
That.
You like it?
I want to see Spalletti there.
I'm scared.
I would love to see Spalletti.
I would love to see Spalletti too.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
But I still can't shake the feeling that either Spalletti or Allegri are going to take over at Juve. That's just the feeling I got. I mean, and the thing I'm seeing now is Allegri to Bayern Munich, which I think would just. Today. I mean, that you got to stop that. They wouldn't. Bayern Munich will never lose another game if he goes there. It's like
but he doesn't play offensive football either, stylish football, and they're going to hate that. They hated that about Ancelotti
when he said that about the links of Allegri to Bayern, because when I saw it this morning,
that scared me.
Selfishly, my first thought was, you know what, so much better there than Juve, because obviously Allegri back at Juve, it becomes a monster.
Another 10 years
that never drops points all over again. I would rather have that at Bayern than I would at Juve.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is with Bayern is if that would be such a perfect choice for him, because he would just. They wouldn't. The thing is, he would. The pragmatism he approaches would mean that they would still score 5-6 goals. They just wouldn't concede anything.
Do you think though they would score that many goals though? I feel like Allegri's tactics when he gets 3 goals, he stops. I feel like he stops. He doesn't want his teams to concede any goals. So he wants to have that
by accident. That team.
Yeah,
this is true. This is true.
That's
this
exactly
is true.
what I'm
this
thinking. It's that what he would do is pretty much offer them a sort of solid base defensively to build from that they would just never concede.
Yeah,
and then you have the attacking prowess already there. Now, I that scares me, but that just don't make that happen because they just won't lose. It just won't ever happen again.
But could it be also like Ancelotti to Bayern? Would it be that kind of sense? Could that happen?
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking.
He's stuck with everything right now.
I don't think that.
I just know above all things in Bayern, and a lot of bigger teams have this. Like, if you don't play stylish enough, they don't care what the results are. They just want you out. Now, obviously, the winning all the titles means everything, and Allegri can bring that. But at a certain point, if they don't start playing like beautiful football, they might be like, we can do this to somebody else. So we'll see. I mean, it would be scary, like Nima and all you guys are saying, if he went to Bayern. I mean, it would. I mean, they wouldn't concede a goal again.
Literally would never.
Neuer would play till he's 45. I mean, fuck.
I agree with Nima. I'm on Nima's side here, and you know what? It is scary. He's right, because not only does he have a good team, he has a great team. What he did with Juve was very good team. He has a better team to allow him to maybe play a different style of football as well, and not. That you have to consider that now. That and Nima just like got into my head here, and it's like hold on, he's right, man. Because like if you have better players, who's to say that he's gonna play the way he did with Juve?
Exactly.
He played to the style of what was given to him, and that's what makes him a good manager. Is that he doesn't go up and beyond of what he doesn't have. He plays within his limits.
Exactly.
So when he's up 2 or 3-0, he has no choice but to play that boring football, where he can't keep attacking. It's not what is given to him. He had one of the best back lines for how many seasons, which was always his strength to his club. So to me,
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
That's the way you have to look at it. And I agree with Nima. If he goes there, this could be the best club in Europe.
I mean,
could be. It is.
He's also a lot of Premier League teams too.
You know, and you know what? You said this on your the Italian Italian podcast. Correct me.
Italian football podcast.
Thank you, Italian football podcast. Wow. I've been butchering.
Nima's like, get it right, motherfucker.
I'm butchering podcasts all day, man. But he said a good point on his last episode last week, or I think it was last week, where he said, "Oh no, I just went out of my head." About the hell?
Which one? What? Allegri or
Allegri not leaving Juventus, and I thought the same thing before I heard your pod, and I agree with you that there's the possibility that if Pirlo were to get fired, I do agree with what you said, that he will be given a 7-game contract, whatever it may be, just to make sure they finish in the top 4 spot. Okay. And they're going to add an extra 2 years, because there's no way a team like Juventus is able to sign somebody with 7 games left. I agree with you. That is the other scenario. I do believe it.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think Allegri will accept to go back to Juve for just a 7-game stint. Like, it just won't happen. That's under his dignity, and he's already. Why would he risk that? And although there's a great friendship, I think again, if Juve again, it's just a very idea of Juve not making the Champions League is just absurd. I mean, I can't even wrap my head around it. Like, even just saying it makes me laugh because it just feels so bizarre, you know.
Like
so
I love it.
For 23 years straight.
I wouldn't cry. I wouldn't cry.
I would love Juve out.
None of us would cry.
I wouldn't cry. I'm just saying that.
Cry laughter, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say though that without Juventus in Champions League, the Italian coefficients could go.
Absolutely, it would be horrible for it. It would be horrible for Italian.
I'll put it in the example of France. We were. This is the first time in about 23 years we have not been in Europe, and we're almost the same coefficients this year as Israel, Ukraine. Not even in the top 4, and even with PSG in the semifinals.
Yeah.
That goes to show you, without Lyon and PSG, the coefficients for France are.
Wow. Where did you shit that out?
Huh?
Where did you shit that out?
I can easily look it up. It's pretty much the coefficients this year for France. Them canceling the rest of the season, that's a hot mess in and of itself. Along with the TV rights, the new TV rights for Media Pro, that became a hot mess. And having new finances for TV rights, that's a whole nother podcast just in and of itself. But long story short, basically we had no TV rights domestically for about 3 or 4 months because Media Pro couldn't fulfill his obligations.
Yeah.
They thought Ligue 1 channel would suffice in France, which knowing the French, they don't really watch that much Ligue 1. They watch other leagues instead. And they didn't really wasn't good. So basically, the LFP, which is the French FA, had to take out government loans to help pay for the subsidies for TV rights for the clubs.
Crazy.
Which is
I realized it was that big of a mess.
Oh yeah, it was horrible. It's a complete mess.
And it's a hot mess, and it's going to get worse from here because after this year, Canal Plus, the domestic TV rights, has no more contract. So they still have to make new TV rights for the next 4 years. And with the price of 1.1 billion euros, no one's going to be able to do that. No one can afford it with the age of COVID. So we don't know how that's next year is going to be unless Messi comes to PSG, which is a possibility, but obviously very far-fetched. It could mean that we might have lower TV rights this year, and it could be less budgets, less things, and more sales in the French league. An Italian team should look at the French league and get the players, i.e. Eduardo Camavinga or Houssam Aouar or Maxence Kakare, Ryan Shirky, just to name a few. Even those in Lille, Jonathan Bamba. Renato Sanchez got his revitalization after Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
Jonathan David. I can go on, but if the way things are, I wouldn't be surprised if Italian teams look at French league and be like, you know what, let's go get a couple players, get them on the cheap, and get some talent in there, you know?
Yeah, you can get that guy Paqueta as well. Fucking sucks.
Let me tell you, that $20 million for Lucas Paqueta has been a steal. 6 goals, 5 assists so far this season.
Hey, some guys can't crack it for the Serie A, man. Don't worry. Some guys they just ain't making. That's it, man.
Hey, I probably needed a different atmosphere with something that's like with other Brazilians and with the Juninho being the sporting director. It just seemed like a very good chemistry, and so far it's been paying off.
Yeah. I wanted to go around the table, guys, on a couple of Serie A things, especially with the panel that we have, and I know I'm going to get to some Ligue 1 with George as well. So don't worry, my friend, we'll get that taken care of.
Don't worry.
But I wanted to start with Jerry, and obviously Nima is going to provide very valuable insight in this as well. Believe it or not, since Jerry and I have been doing the show going back to, I think we started like about 14 months ago. For most of the time that we've been doing shows together, Jerry has actually been the bigger believer in Antonio Conte than me, despite me being the Interista. Like
not surprising.
Guy, no surprises.
Even back when Conte was, throwing his tantrums last season, Jerry was usually the guy talking me off the ledge. And, you go back to August after the Europa League final when Inter management had that summit at the Villa, and we thought coming out of that, Conte's going to resign or he's going to get sacked, and Allegri's coming in, and it turns out, Conte's sticking around. I was actually a little bit upset that day because I had sort of talked myself into Max Allegri, and Jerry had been talking me down the ledge. I never thought, Jerry, that we would get to this point, where 8 match days left. I'm certainly not taking this for granted. I'm not throwing any celebrations. I'm very superstitious, but 8 match days left. Inter have an 11-point lead in the Serie A. Everyone has really rallied around Conte's style. Inter are collecting clean sheet after clean sheet. It's been extremely pragmatic, the approach, and it's been working. I know people are criticizing Inter for lack of beautiful football and all that horseshit nonsense that we talk about here. But, Jerry, I want to get your thoughts first because you have been my rock. I mean, at the time, last season when I started to get gray hairs on my beard and I had, 0 hairs left on my head, you were the one who was talking me down from the Conte ledge. And people are now accusing Jerry of being an Interista on Twitter. But, you including Richard, Jerry, your thoughts on what Conte has been able to do this season? Because it really has been remarkable. The improvement from Inter from, late in the calendar year of 2020 versus what they've done 11 straight victories in 2021. It's been pretty amazing.
No, for sure. And I don't know how people can write off Conte after one season. I'm sorry. They thought that he was going to come in and bring a Scudetto home and bring a Champions League home. And again, Nima said a great point on his podcast just recently where not many teams win a Champions League. Like, come on. How long has it been since Juventus have won a freaking Champions League? We have to go back to 1996. You know what I mean? Like it's not easy, and I hate when no offense, Richard, I hate when Milan fans go, "Oh, we've won 7." Like
Milan fans are one of the worst in the world. I mean,
it's the worst. But overall, I think Conte has done a great job. Okay, he's really got the best out of Barella. Like, guy's a star midfielder. He's going to be the best midfielder for years to come. I still think that Sergej Milinkovic-Savic is the best this season. I'm a little biased, I'll be honest, but I just think that he's been more dominant. It's a whole different topic. But like, look what he's done with Skriniar. Last year, Skriniar wasn't good in a back 3. Always played in a back 4. Look how he's played this year. I think he's probably been, if not, maybe their best defender. And maybe a lot of people will disagree, but I see a guy who's really physical in the box on the offensive end, who's won a lot of headers and has scored a few goals off set pieces, and has been very defensive sound in the back end as well. Conte's come with a game plan this year where people are buying into it. They're all on board, and I think that his stubbornness finally has been broken, and bringing in Eriksen really saved the season. I think that was the turning point for their Serie A campaign, where
Eriksen and Perisic. I mean, think about how well his reintegration
worked. He's not even a natural wing back. Like,
I'd say he is now. A couple months ago,
he is.
No,
maybe now, but a couple months ago, no. And the thought of, okay, so if you guys were to get rid of him, that's more money you guys are tied into. You're still paying Spalletti. You're going to be paying Conte. Like, people are stupid to think that Conte was leaving in the first place. The only way Conte was going to leave this past summer was if Spalletti's contract was rescinded or something, like was done, like gone. Like, they weren't going to pay.
Jerry, would have been if Conte had said, "I'm resigning and I'm not. You don't have to pay me the rest of my deal." That would have been really the only way. I feel
never happening. If Chelsea went to court with Conte about wages and all that crap, you think he's going to take away his contract with Inter? Not happening. But you know what? I just like what he's done. I was. You know what? His past track shows what he was able to do, and I hate when people say that he's not a great manager because he hasn't won a Champions League. Shove that shit up your ass, okay?
I'll admit, I really do.
That's like so stupid.
3-5-2. I really am always a big fan of the 3-5-2 formation. I'm not sure why, but he has done wonders. And my kind of philosophy is very similar to what Conte is: 3-5-2, pressing the ball, getting a good attacking football, and that's pretty much sums up from a neutral perspective of what Conte has done at Inter so far. Because you see it sometimes at Chelsea when he won the Premier League his first year. Almost very similar with Eden Hazard with the back 3. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jerry, because you're the Chelsea fan here. But I just love his 3-5-2, and I feel like now more and more coaches are doing a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3 now, as compared to the 4-3-3 of tiki-taka football during the Pep Guardiola years. You know what I mean? So I do respect for Conte on that.
And something, and I know, and I want to bring Nima in on this note, because I know that Nima and I both have an appreciation for a similar type of football. We love Catenaccio. I argue so much with my American soccer fanboy bros about, what good football is supposed to look like, because honestly, I don't think there's any answer, right? To me, beautiful football, there's a number of different ways to accomplish that, right? I mean, listen, possession based, when you're breaking down defenses and creating chances, that can be beautiful. But when you break on the counterattack and you have a guy, like Romelu Lukaku running at you like a freight train, when you have the interplay that you can get between Lautaro and Lukaku, I mean, it can be absolutely beautiful because Nima, one of the big things that I've noticed, during the Conte era, especially lately when it's really working, okay? When Inter break on a counter and I'm sitting on the couch watching a game, as soon as they break on a counter, I spring to my feet because I know something amazing could be about to happen. So, and Nima, I think about all the conversations that you and I have had on WhatsApp over the past year or so when things weren't going so well for Conte, and how we would freak out at times. So, your take on how things have been working lately?
Look, so the thing is with the reason why we're here is a number of factors. I look, what we saw in the summer when he decided to stay, when he was told that, look, we can't sign big play, there's no money, and we don't want to sack you, we want to keep you, but this is, and he kind of worked in that, okay, well then you can't demand that I win because the project ended, as he likes to say, the project ended in August and all that nonsense. What happened, look, is very simply this. We went to December with him still sulking and being pissed off, not having his way, whinging over Eriksen, forcing him to play in a trequartista role that he doesn't understand. All that alpha male bullshit that Antonio Conte is so famous for, because he thinks Eriksen is a wuss, or because that's how he is as a person. But look, what happened. I've always said to you and everyone else that I think Antonio Conte is at his absolute best when his back is against the wall, when he cannot go into the transfer market, when he has to accept this is what I have and this is what I have to work with. Now, simultaneously, if you know your Conte history, and this is what I tweeted out a thread about the other day, he started his career playing 4-2-4. Yes. He's always wanted to play 4-2-4. He's never been able to do that. He had to change when he was at Juve because it was not defensively solid. So he changed to a 3-5-2 and focused on intensity. Now intensity is energy cost. It costs a lot of energy. You can't maintain that throughout a season and compete in Europe. So he did that, domestically successful in Juve. Then he goes to the Italian national team, where he actually is closest to playing his 4-2-4 tactically, if you look at it the way that, teams that attack in a 4-2-4 and a defend in a 3-5-2. He kind of did that with the Italian national team, and that's kind of ironic given that quality-wise, that's the worst team he's had at his disposal in terms of individual players. So he goes to Chelsea and he tries the same thing again, and then but it doesn't work, so he changes to a 3-4-3 covering space because the intensity is not an issue. Now, what happens at Inter after Christmas is when he realizes that, hang on, and this is something we've seen time and time again during this run of 11 games, which is absolutely fascinating. And I always say that this guy is a tactical genius. Look, what he does is Brozovic drops down deep next to De Vrij in the back in central defense. Bastoni and Skriniar, just like clockwork, immediately go up into fullback positions. This prompts the wing backs to go into wingers. Hakimi and Perisic are wingers. They're not wing backs anymore. And Inter counterattack and build this way. And it always stops like clockwork this way, whether or not it's a long ball up, whether it's centrally or down the wings. If it's Lukaku meeting up, playing off of Lautaro, who plays it out wide, or vice versa, it goes out to one of the wings. They attack in a 4-2-4. He's never done that before. And he realizes this is how he's always wanted to play. And for the first time in his career, he's got a group of players that actually can deliver that. Attack in a 4-2-4, defend in a 3-5-2. And that's why I say that I'm not ready to write him off as a coach in Europe, because we saw glimpses of that, a different version of this in the Europa League, which Inter went to the final. He didn't attack as a 4-2-4. He attacked instances like a 3-2-5. And that wasn't balanced, and Sevilla ripped him apart because of that.
Yep.
The 4-2-4 works when he attacks because he can immediately close spaces when he doesn't have the ball to play in a 3-5-2. And he knows this because he's a smart guy. So therefore, that's why I'm saying that with a couple of signings, and it doesn't have to be expensive. I mean, the only expensive signing they really need to make this summer is Rodrigo de Paul. He's the only one who possesses all the traits that Inter midfield does not have. The movement and dribbling with the ball between the lines. That is all that is lacking in this team. When he has that, he has Eriksen, Brozovic, Barella, Sensi, and De Paul. Now that's 5 players that can create in 5 different ways, who you just got to get them working together. And if he can, and which he's been able to do so far. So for me, it literally is a season of 2 halves. Before Christmas, where it was whingy, sulky Conte, and after Christmas, where it's Conte basically reinventing himself. And it's fascinating to see. It's really fascinating to see, because I honestly did not think he had it in him. I didn't think he had it in him. But because it's not the same coach. He's never played like this before. This isn't Conte at at Juve. This isn't Conte at Chelsea. This is Conte doing what he wanted to do, going back to his roots almost, but updating it and freshening up for 2021. And I'm more than anything, I'm excited if they can get Rodrigo de Paul. It's make or break next season in Europe. And it's going to be fascinating.
I think that's a tremendous breakdown. And Richard, of course, I listen to you and Frank every single week. I'm always pissed that I rarely can get on the live, but believe me, I always listen to the replays. I have a very long commute, so I have plenty of time to listen to podcasts.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and I like the way that you and Frank break it down as far as the whole beautiful football thing. 3 points is beautiful football to me. I think that's the most beautiful thing, and kind of your thoughts on the way that Conte has really galvanized the squad, and things are just really clicking to his standards lately.
First of all, fuck off. I got to follow Nima after that shit. And come on now. That's fucking brilliant. I got to follow that shit. No, but
follow it up with a Pioli breakdown if you want.
Fuck that. Anyway, no, so Conte is, he is brilliant. I mean, Nima said it exactly right. I mean, someone asked us on our last podcast about what do we think about the 4-2-4, and I'm like, look, it's not really a 4-2-4. It is when they attack, it's a 4-2-4, but he goes back to 3-5-2 afterwards. He's very much he's got the team that he wants, basically, minus, like Nima said, Rodrigo de Paul. People are complaining, first of all, you said about Jerry, how he's the only one really, supporting Conte while, you were not. And pretty much every Interista I saw, they were saying the same thing like you were, Alex. They were like, oh, fuck, this guy's making me crazy, driving me crazy. And all of us neutrals were like, calm down, relax. He's going to be good with you guys. Just relax. But he's really galvanized his team, like you said. I mean, he's got Eriksen playing another level. Alexis Sanchez is playing great. I mean, everybody on this team. He's got Romelu Lukaku freaking fit. The shape this man is in, he is freaking a beast right now. I mean, he's fast. He's got the skills so he can score goals. Unplayable. There's no defender really that can play him right now. And so the way that Conte has his team lined up, it's just amazing. And like we said, people want to say, oh, he's not playing beautiful football. Who gives a shit? I mean, they're winning. That's all that matters. But look at Allegri when he was at Juventus for freaking... Sure. But you know what I'm saying? It's not like the beautiful tiki-taka or whatever. It's like, no, he's getting 3 points. That's all that matters. Why do you care? Like, there's Juventus fans for years when they had Allegri. Same shit, right? He gets the win. That's all that matters. Win the title. People should be happy. And
the thing that gets me the most, sorry to cut you off, Richard, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but the thing that pisses me off the most about that nonsense about Conte's Inter, first of all, up until Saturday, they scored the most goals in the Serie A, more than Atalanta. And they played 2 less games than Man City and scored more than them domestically, equal with Barcelona. The only team that they haven't scored with as much as is Bayern Munich. Yeah. And I can live with that. Okay?
Sure.
But more than that, this is bullshit, because when Conte's first year at Juve, when they'd finished 7th the year before, when they went off like a freight train and ran home with the Serie A title, not a single person said that year that Conte's Juve was boring or anything like that.
Exactly.
The boring nonsense came 3, 4, 5 years down the line when they kept riding up Serie A titles. You can't compare Conte's second year when he's taken a team that hasn't won jack shit for 10 years and is actually building something to win. You got to compare it with his first year or second year when he's actually building something at Juve. So the comparison is completely flawed in and of itself. But then when you look into the actual data, this is not a team that plays boring football. They have the second longest passes before scoring. They have the second longest average attacks before scoring. They have scored the most goals. They concede the least. They're not a very physical side because I think they're 20th for the most tackles per game. They just outplay their opponents because they've got the best coach in the league. It's that simple. He prepares for games like a lunatic. Like I mean, no one prepares like Antonio Conte for games. Before he comes to these games, now that he's obsessed with the league, no one can come near him. He comes so super prepared, and his players know exactly what to do. And he's got not only plan B and C, he's got like 6 different plans he can play because of the shift in system that I was talking about earlier. And none of it is based on people falling over their feet and they poking in a goal. No, he creates.
Yep.
And it just falls flat on every single one of those things, falling flat on his face.
Every team that they've come up against over the last month or so that we thought was going to give them a challenge, he's had an answer for every single one of them, and it's been amazing. Like I'm like, this could be a game that they could steal, but I have a feeling Conte is going to figure it out, and of course he figures it out. I was like, my goodness, he has every answer, and it's brilliant to watch. I mean, as a neutral,
let me just ask you, Richard, in the derby. You had 55-60% of the ball.
Yeah.
Inter dominated that game.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So who cares about ball position?
Exactly.
It's about what you do with it.
And to that point, it's even been more effective. It's been more effective against the stronger opposition, because when you're going up against a team, like a Milan and like a Lazio with more firepower, then that tends to be where not having the ball and breaking on the counter becomes even more effective. So
absolutely. It's what we've seen is that they'll sit back, soak it up, and then hit him on the counter. And I think a smart team would let Inter have the ball, make them more uncomfortable, and that way you counter on them. Like maybe a Roma could do that, but their defense sucks. But you know what I mean? It's the way they play is they say, hey, you have the ball, we'll catch you on the counter and punch you, knock you out. And they do it every time, and nobody's like opening their eyes. The times that Inter have looked the most vulnerable is teams that have let them have the ball and then they hit them on the counter.
Right.
So, well, that's the weird thing, because when he's played teams like that are like Torino, like Parma, he's found a way to overload them.
Yep.
Like it's like, how the hell did this end up in a 2v1 situation? Because he knows, I know a lot of it, it's become a meme of him standing by the sidelines and screaming and shouting, but I know, but it's like, there's a reason he does that, because he works with them so closely. It's like he's telling them, he makes these commandos, and on just like that, they switch on. He has this ability, which is classically Italian, to lull teams to sleep, and then out of nowhere, within 5 seconds, the ball's in the back of the net. It's unbelievable the change that we've seen since after Christmas, and the more time goes on, the more you see that he's building this kind of monster of a team. And if they can just get him one or two players, Inter are going to be something to reckon with in Europe. I don't think
I've got a question for Richard. I got a couple questions for George, and then I want Jerry to tell a story to Nima. So, Richard, I wanted to ask you, my friend. Now, personally, if you want my opinion, I do think Milan will qualify for Champions League. Now, obviously, from your perspective, being a Milanista, I'm sure it's a little bit, more nerve-wracking to see you're in second place, but you are only 4 points above fifth place at the moment. So what's your thought with 8 match days left? Are you a little nervous? How confident are you to hold on to top 4?
I don't know. I mean, I'm happy to see that Juve is not doing as great, but Atalanta, my big worry, what I said at the beginning of the season, I said Atalanta would finish second behind Inter because they're that good of a team, and they're making that march now, and I'm really worried about that. Milan are going to be sputtering here down the stretch. If they can get some wins against some of these lower opponents and just keep getting points, I think they'll be fine. But luckily for us, Juve is still struggling as well. When we lose, they lose. It seems like, so we don't lose any ground on them. Napoli also you got to keep an eye on, because they could certainly come into the top 4 as well. So I think they'll barely hang on, but it's going to be nerve wracking. I mean, I'm going to have a full head of gray hair by the time this thing is done. So I don't know. It's just. They've been caught out and they can't recover. What's that, George?
I'm the same way. Just in Ligue 1, it's a different situation, though.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? I think Milan's schedule is very tough, because when you look at it, it's the toughest schedule maybe. I'm just looking at theirs first, and I didn't realize this, but without looking at the bottom seeders, you got Atalanta, Juventus, Lazio, and Sassuolo. And Sassuolo can be good on a good day. So those are 4 big games they have. And then you got here's where it gets even more kind of dicey. In the last 3 weeks, they played Torino and Cagliari. And let's just say these are 2 teams that are really neck and neck. And if you're playing these 2 teams back to back where they're within 2-3 points, that becomes even more difficult for Milan now. Yeah. Because now you're playing a team that is fighting for relegation and to fight off relegation, and This is a very difficult schedule.
And Milan played to their opponent too. They were in the beginning of this huge run that they were on. They would beat everybody and didn't matter. Now they're playing to their opponent. So if the opponent sucks, they're gonna suck. If they play a good opponent, they'll play better. And it's infuriating as a fan because you're like, I don't know what team I'm gonna see this week, and yeah, you're hoping for a penalty because that's all they can get lately. I mean, I don't know.
You got to tell your guy Sanremo Zlatan to stop getting sent off. I mean, it's every other week.
Lead by example, right?
Now, I wanted to get into with George. Now, we see, of course, PSG doing their thing in Champions League. They knock Bayern Munich out, so they advance to the semifinal. But in Ligue 1, they're not currently in first place. This is going to be a photo finish, man. Are we going to have a new champion this year?
Well, it all depends because with PSG, it's always they play so good and all their energies in Champions League. Then the coming weekend, they drop points. You see that with Nantes. They said that with Lorient. The Strasbourg was a little bit different. They actually won. But usually whenever it's a Champions League and then they play another opponent in the weekend, they tend to drop points, and usually it's their loss. I feel like they have 7 or 8 losses, I think, so far this season, and yet they're still in second place, 3 points behind Lille, who have about 4 losses. So Lille still have to play us. We still have to play Monaco as well. So between first and fourth place, it's I believe it's 6 points.
Wow,
separating first and fourth place.
Jeez.
And second place and third and fourth place is 3 points. So it's not going to be. It's going to be a photo finish. I know Lyon play Lille and Monaco back to back, so that could definitely change things around big time. We could be the spoiler that causes PSG to win the title, or we can cause Lille to solidify themselves as first place. But it's going to be a photo finish, and it's going to get me a lot of gray hair because right now, with no Europe, being in fourth place is kind of embarrassing to know that we're only going to get probably Europa League at this point when we should be getting Champions League with no Europe. It's inexcusable, in my opinion.
And I've got to ask you about my guy and my girl, Mauro and Wanda in Paris. Where's he going to wind up? Because there's a lot of smoke with Juventus. So what do you think happens there?
I mean, he barely played. He's barely in on the field. Usually he's either naked on Instagram with Wanda or or he's out injured. I mean, this guy is what? They spent like 70
Are they still doing those? Are they still doing
ridiculous?
those? Are they still doing those like pseudo S&M black and white photos where he's naked and she's standing?
I don't know. I don't follow them.
You know what's funny, Nima? Because I actually still follow Wanda on Instagram, which is not a bad thing, but it's mostly solo shots now. It's mostly like her just like kind of like cupping the chest area. It's usually what it is now.
No, I think personally he's probably earning back to Serie A because I think Paris is a great place to go, but for him, he's been injured most of the time, so he's not been getting the good experience that he needed to get in Paris. And I think Paris wants to offload him with his wages and try to get something out of him for something else, which I believe they want to probably do a swap deal with Juventus, if I'm not mistaken.
Dybala,
yeah. I was gonna say, Nima, is that your sense? Do you think Icardi finally ends up in Juventus? It's only been rumored for like 4 seasons. It finally comes true, maybe.
I think it does, and I think because of the fact that. Well, I mean, it depends on what do you do with Ronaldo. I mean, there's so much insecurity factor here. What happens with Ronaldo? Does he stay? If they don't make the Champions League, what the hell do they do? If they make the Champions League, okay, does Cristiano stay? Does he go? Morata, who's the coach? Who's going to be the sporting director? If you bring Allegri back, how can Paratici stay? How can Nedved stay? If they don't and they continue with someone else, okay, well then you got to build around them. And then if you bring Spalletti and you want to Spalletti and Icardi, the guy who stripped him of his captaincy at Inter. I mean, there's so much insecurity. And then you got Dybala, his contract expires, and Juve are in a very tight spot. But knowing Juve, it'll probably end up with them signing Donnarumma and Locatelli, and everyone else wondering what the hell happened. Like that, they are evil. This is
or even Memphis Depay or
some shit like that, like something like that could absolutely happen. I mean, this is Juve. Never underestimate them.
Keep in mind, there is a legit rumor that they wanted to do Houssam Aouar, cash plus Matteo De Sciglio for Houssam Aouar.
Wow.
And FYI, no Lyon fan ever wants Mateus De Sciglio at the club.
No fan wants Matteo De Sciglio.
No one's a fucking idiot. That's what
the only person who does is at Real Don Agnelli, because he's an idiot who has a crush on his beautiful boy.
Beautiful boy.
Let's just say this: as bad as Icardi has been this year, he'd be the fourth highest scorer on Juventus right now if he were to come onto the team. And that's how bad Juventus has been with scoring this year. He's got 5 goals, and he would be tied fourth with Weston McKennie.
Wow.
So as bad as Icardi has been this year, that just shows how shit Juventus has been too on the scoring end, where the bulk of their goals have come basically from Ronaldo, and I think the second highest score I just saw was Chiesa with 7. So
yeah,
I think personally they should not get Morata permanently. I think Memphis should go to Juventus, and I think Memphis as a false 9 up top can really help out and really help with Ronaldo. He's that kind of person that goes off.
I'm with you on that, because I think that would suit Pirlo's football more.
Yes,
in one way.
And then again,
Pirlo's football.
But you're getting him on a free.
No one can help Ronaldo. That piece of shit. Okay, no one can help Ronaldo.
Well, I'm not saying help, but I mean he can definitely.
No one can help him. You can put. No, it doesn't matter what you put on the field. The guy's a selfish.
He's gone anyways.
Crap. He's an ignorant piece of crap. Well. I hate how this Ronaldo fan boy girl club. I hate it, man. Where they think that Ronaldo's not the issue; it's the team that's the issue. I didn't know that when you play football, it's one guy and the other 10 just watch you.
Just like Messi? Just like
no. I'm sorry. I may be a Messi fan, but when Messi plays, I think he does make other players around him better. That's just my take. I know that there are certain times in the game where he'll take it himself, but when he sees a lane or an area or a pitch space that he can exploit, he'll do it. That's the difference. But when he sees a pass, he will put his own teammates in a certain position to score. That's just the way I look at it. You tell me how many key passes Ronaldo has every year. I would love to know what his key passes are, because he doesn't make passes when he should. That's just the way I look at him. He elects to take a shot, and then the best was, I think it was on Sunday, where Chiesa doesn't make the pass to Ronaldo where he's wide open, and he just runs straight up. And I think he does that on purpose, because had it been vice versa and Ronaldo had to make the pass, I can bet you my life he doesn't make it, okay? I'll bet you my life. I'm sorry, man. You know what? Ronaldo has plenty of talent, and that's not my art. That people say I'm stupid and ignorant because I think that Ronaldo's garbage. No, I don't think
I just think Juventus have no midfield. If they can get Houssam Aouar,
you're right about
that would definitely solve a lot of their problems.
You're right, but you also want to adapt. Ronaldo's never adapted his game with Juventus. He still plays the same way. Figure it out. You don't have a midfield. Come back a little bit. Don't walk back. The guy gingers up front. It's disgusting. He does. Ask him if he knows the word defense, because I guarantee you, he does it. You know what?
He's an old man now, Jerry. He's got to save that energy. He's mid-30s
Maybe Nima.
I thought he was 38.
No, he's 34, 35, something 35.
Yeah, I think it's 35. Zlatan's 59.
This is the guy who ruined Rafa Benitez at where was that? Real Madrid, right?
Yeah.
When he was managing, I think it was Madrid and Ronaldo was there, and they didn't get along, and Ronaldo basically ruined him and got him out.
Was Rafa Benitez? Was he there when Rafa Benitez was there?
He was managed. I
thought it was Pellegrini. I don't remember.
I was reading in the biography.
Yeah, he probably was there, but look, it
was a half a season.
Yeah, probably. I don't remember. I am not a big fan of Rafa Benitez, but look, with Ronaldo and Messi, look, Cristiano Ronaldo is not the same player today that he was when he came through at Man United. It's a completely different player.
No, absolutely.
And I think a lot of that is how I think Zidane actually should get a lot of credit for what you see now. The poacher, that's what he was. That's Zidane's creation. Before that, with the Mourinho team with Özil, Khedira, Di Maria, these are all players that he bought. And Benzema, and all of the, that Real Madrid was Mourinho's creation. He laid the foundation for that team that went on to win the 4 Champions Leagues, if we're perfectly honest. And that was Mourinho's team, and the way that he used Ronaldo there, and the way that Real Madrid used Ronaldo there, it's a different team. It was a different Ronaldo completely to the team you see now. I mean, to the Ronaldo you see now, which is, because of his age, he's a poacher. He doesn't. But I mean, I think it would be a disservice to say that he can't pass or create, because, I mean, I've seen him do some crazy shit this year with some of those passes, which are just like,
guys. I hate to say this. This is the second time that this has happened to me in like 2 weeks. Jerry can attest to it.
What?
My computer. I don't think that this can function without me the rest of this the rest of this session, and my part of my power outlet, I left it at work. So I think we have like 2 more minutes, Jerry, but before my computer dies and we're out of commission, can you tell a story for Nima? If we get knocked off, you're gonna know why. If we get knocked off, you're gonna know why. But Jerry, you got to give me something.
Jerry story.
Grocery store. You got to give me something here.
Okay, I'll it's a really embarrassing story, but I don't care really. It's when I went to my uncle's friend's house. This was in high school actually, and we went to his friend's house, and I was in the washroom actually, and I don't know if this ever happened to you. There was no toilet paper. So there was no toilet paper, and I was in trouble, and I was embarrassed to ask where the toilet paper was because it wasn't my house, and it was the first time there. So instead of asking for toilet paper, I found a towel hanging on the bar.
No, you didn't.
So I used the towel.
What about your sock?
But no, I'm not using my sock. I'm gonna wash that. So I used the towel, and when I was done, I kind of folded it, and I on top of the bar. I know it's an embarrassing story, but you wanted a Jerry story. It was the first thing that came to my head.
Oh my god!
You were never invited to my house.
Oh my god! I have no shame, man. Like,
I'm gonna die.
That's nasty, Jerry. That's nasty.
There was another time
where
oh my god!
Alex went to throw up.
It's probably finding a charger. Oh my god!
It was the first thing that came to my mind. I don't know. You guys put me on the spot for a Jerry story, man.
I love it. Thanks, Jerry.
It looks like he found a charger.
I'm scrambling. Hold on.
Did you not read what David just wrote? Log into your phone.
Yeah, okay. You know what? I just found that this is a miracle. My Nintendo Switch charger works on my computer, so we are fucking safe.
I do that,
man. You made me write.
Gaming saves lives.
Gaming saves lives, man.
Also, my Nintendo Switch HDMI works for
Jerry. I have to ask Jerry. What did he say when he?
I don't know. I don't know. I left. And I was there. I never mentioned.
He's never talked to him again.
I never told my uncle about this. Nothing.
But he must have said something. He must have said. He didn't talk
the whole night. It was so uncomfortable though. That whole night, man. Sitting in that room, man, I was so uncomfortable.
How did you not go home after that? I gotta go.
I wanted to go home. I was there for an hour. I had to I was dying. It was bad, man. Really bad.
Nasty, Jerry.
Yeah. Okay. One time, my first grocery job, I caught a man in the middle of the aisle taking a piss in between a display. Yeah.
How did they? I don't know.
Apparently, he had a bladder problem. He apparently had a bladder problem. We had our grocery store was called Western Produce. It was like old seniors' home basically, where all the 70 years old and 60-year-old came in.
Alex doing?
Yeah.
Alex,
so the old man comes in the middle of the aisle.
Alex Morley's legs.
Yeah, hold on. I have to. I have to sit on my bed because if I'm in if I do this from the living room, I'm gonna wake up my 3-year-old because I talk too loud. So I have to basically hide like in the other side of the house when I do this. I just did the Sharon Stone.
3-year-old swearing. Yeah, I can understand that.
Oh man, well listen, guys. I had a freaking blast. I want to give everybody a chance to plug anything you guys want to plug. George, it was so great having you on, man. If you want to let people know where they can find you, social media, anything you want to promote, man, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, there's my there you go. There's my personal Twitter feed. I also do a Football OL English podcast, which I'll put that in to Calcio podcast afterwards. We do talk things Ligue 1 and Lyon. We do actually bring on other opposing fans onto the podcast, not to just shit on them, but to give them their space. But yeah, we talk about all things Ligue 1, and hopefully good things happen, and we'll see how things turn out for the end of the season. But it's going to be more gray hairs, and hopefully Garcia gets fired. That's all I'm hoping for.
Oh my god.
And you guys know, of course, Richard Kharman has been a good buddy of ours. He and Frank Crivello, they're a family, man. And of course, he's got the Serie sit down Twitter handle, their tag, so you know where to find his show. And Richard, you guys recently moved. You were many months, if not years, doing Tuesdays. You changed nights recently, right?
Yeah. So we started off doing Sundays a long time ago, and then we switched over to Tuesday nights, and we're like, okay, we'll do that because sometimes news breaks on Monday and Tuesday, and so we can get it in there. But then we decided to go back to Sundays, and let's change things up, and it's it's good. We're we always say we're a recap show on steroids, and we're good for sometimes 2 hours long, but we like to talk all the games, and you can follow the tag right there, a little bit better, at Serie Sit Down, anywhere on social media and YouTube, and then you can follow me if you want, I guess, at R_KHARMAN, and remember, Caicedo greater than Immobile.
Richard, does Frank still?
I got the podcast Twitter page now, so there you go.
Oh, nice.
What's that, Nima?
Does Frank still does Frank's friend still call him daddy?
That was the funniest episode ever. He's like, that's how much my friend said to me, daddy? I'm like,
I died.
I cried. You see, I was crying on that episode. I could not stop laughing. Oh my god.
Rafa was. You broke Rafa. He broke Rafa too. Rafa was dying as well. Oh my god, that was hilarious.
Oh my god! Huge thank you to Nima for joining us, especially since it's the middle of the goddamn night for you in Sweden. So
I'm over. Jerry's story killed me. I'm crying. I'm literally.
He's still crying.
I'm gonna let you get some sleep in a moment, but of course you have a lot of things going on from Sempre Inter to the Italian Football Pod. Let the people know where they can find everything.
Thanks. At Sempre Intercom on Twitter and at Ita Footpod on Twitter. That's where we put the Italian Football Podcast, and patreon.com/TIFP if you want to join and listen to our stuff. And oh my God, Jerry, Jesus, I'm gonna die.
Towels and shit. Towels and shit.
For me, there's two things to that story. It's that you folded it over and hung it over, and then you stayed for another hour.
Stayed for another hour. I was more nervous because I was more nervous not because of the towel. I was more nervous because how I was feeling. I felt like so crappy. I need to go take a shower. I was like, I gotta get out of here, man. I was dying to leave, man.
At least you didn't crap in the shower.
Yeah,
that's not a bad idea. I should have
probably thought about it.
Fuck, I would have done that for real.
It's not a bad idea.
I don't care. Whatever gets the job done. I was so embarrassed. I couldn't ask for toilet paper. I was like, fuck, what do I do, man?
So
I'm already done though. I'm like, shit. What do I do? Do I put my pants up back?
This is why you check first.
Yeah, you're telling me, man. I checked everywhere. I'm like, what household doesn't have toilet paper in their fucking washroom? Like seriously.
Yeah, there's something wrong with that. It's really not your fault.
Right.
It's not your fault. You would think that you would ask first, right? Maybe text your uncle. Hey, uncle, there's something wrong with this washroom.
Oh my God!
Grab the toilet.
You call him Zio?
I call him Zio. I just think uncle. It's just easier because a lot of people don't know.
Oh,
it is an Italian podcast.
Jerry,
I even knew that. And I'm not even Italian, I'm Portuguese. Hence why I put that in there earlier.
I love it. And anyway, Jerry, you always have 100 things going on, man. You're writing. You're writing for every site on the planet. You've even been writing about Inter. Have you written about Napoli as well? Did I?
Yeah, I did Napoli. I you know what? I write about Inter. Two reasons. It gives me a stronger following for myself. It gets more viewers, so people see what I'm doing. And you know what? I've never had a bad encounter, man. I noticed with Inter fans, not one Inter fan has really ever given me a hard time compared to Roma, Juve. And,
even Lord Figo loves you.
Yeah. I want to know what that guy's on because I want some too. I want whatever he has because that shit's really good. Probably.
Shout out to the cereal milk.
Mark, man, the cereal milk. That's right. I don't know. A lot of people call me out for like. A lot of people call me out for being very supportive of Inter. You know what? I'm okay with Inter. I think I love the team itself. I respect the brand of football. That's why I really appreciate Inter this year, and I respect what Nima has said that it's exciting football. And I've watched every game this year because of our podcast. So I've been up to date just to converse with Alex. And I think that, and lastly, I didn't get to talk about this. I know I'm probably going off topic and I want to tell you this, Nima, is that this whole Champions League and he screwed up bullshit, everybody can shove that in their ass because that was not an easy group. I don't give a. I was listening to Nina Ryuki today, or whatever her name is, and she's got the worst takes. I'm gonna be honest right now. I'll shoot it. Mina Ryuki. Rizuki, that's it.
I like her though.
I don't like her, man.
Is she from ESPN?
She's too biased with Juventus. Get out of here.
Is she ESPN?
Be open, she was on ESPN. Okay, she still is there. But I was listening to her pod with Matteo Benetti. I like Nikki Blandine. I think she has really good takes. But
can I do a side note of the side note though?
Sure.
How are you guys feeling for those in the US that ESPN is last year of Serie A's this season? And it's going to go to Paramount Plus afterwards.
Doesn't bother me because I have it, so I don't care.
Yeah, and I was telling you guys, Richard, the last time we were on together, it's like I'm so cheap that I haven't been like. Obviously, I watch Champions League, but I've been watching Champions League on Spanish TV because I can get that for free.
Me too.
So thank you. See,
the commentary is better too than English.
But now obviously since Serie A is going to Paramount Plus, I'm gonna have to add that to the repertoire.
What's up, Ricky?
So,
you go from spending like only one app. You think you're gonna save money by getting all these streaming apps, and you end up spending a lot more. I think I spend a lot more now than I did when I had cable. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's
true here, man.
Whatever. It's football.
But like I was saying, Nima, I think that the Champions League, it's not a bust to me. You know what? It is what it is, and for what it was, like that group was never easy. So I think people don't give enough appreciation to the teams that they had to play as well at the end of the day. So it was never going to be easy to come top 3 in that group. That's just the way I look at it. But I know a lot of people will shit on me for that, but it is what it is.
And I've learned something new. I learned a lot more of Calcio today. A lot more Calcio, of Inter and all that. So Alex, I would love to come back on and talk Calcio instead of Ligue 1.
Dude, beautiful.
Hopefully, not in like 14 months' time, maybe like in a couple weeks' time would be great.
We'll make it happen, man. At least I had a great time with everybody, and we did it a little bit earlier for this one because I still haven't eaten dinner, and I don't want to keep Nima up till like 9 in the morning.
I'll tell you what. I'll stay up if Arthur Morelli Senior comes on instead of Junior. Junior man. Soft. And bring Senior on because I want Art's dad to be on.
There's a Junior.
Senior is the man.
There's an Arthur Junior.
Well, Art is Junior. Like
Art Morelli is Junior.
Yeah, his dad is Senior.
No, but how old is his son?
Art Morelli Jr. He's like he's 22, man. He's straight out of college, hitting those streets.
He's got a 22-year-old. I didn't even know that. I thought he had like a 5-year-old.
No, don't listen to him, Jerry.
Don't listen to your father, Alex.
Oh God.
Oh God! What is everybody coming like an hour later?
Well, because we usually start later, so I would suggest everybody who got in a few minutes ago, go back and watch and listen to the replay. And we're Mondays and or Thursdays we'll probably do another live on Monday, and I want to make sure that at various points throughout the year we get everybody back on again, because I had a lot of fun. So huge shout out to Richard, to Nima, to George. This guy always makes me laugh.
What's this new version of Champions League format? What is this shit?
Oh, the Swiss model. That means more Ligue 1 teams. No, I'm kidding. That's one more extra spot for Ligue 1, but also 2 spots for those that didn't make the top 4, but are in the top 5 leagues. So, for example, Arsenal or Tottenham, they don't make top 4, then they would get into it through historical preference, through their coefficient.
So Milan will make it every year then.
There you go.
Just because that. So maybe I like it.
This is fucking.
It has
bullshit,
to be
man.
there from 4th to 7th place, Jerry. If they're outside of that,
I'm with David on this. I mean, this I knew this was going to happen as soon as Anelli started. Every time they want to expand the Champions League, they rattle the old cage of the Super League to scare UEFA, and UEFA caves. And then they do that for a couple of years until they want more money, and then they do that again. I mean, I've seen this basically for the last 25 years, and I agree with David. I think it's disgusting. It's disgusting. I love it.
More coefficient for Ligue 1.
That's true.
Juve should be relegated. I agree. Fucking cheaters.
So I want to say a huge thanks and a shout out to everybody. You want to make sure you can follow me on Twitter as well. The handle is hold on, let me point to
toilet paper.
And make sure you check every restroom for toilet paper before you go.
Check your towels too.
If you have Jerry in your house.
Or make sure you don't pee in a supermarket.
That's true.
Pee in a supermarket.
For the fans, if we oppose, it's not happening.
I'm going to go to bed.
For Jerry, for Nima, for Richard, for George, I'm Alex. We'll talk to you guys next time on another episode of the Calcio Connection podcast. Ciao.
Ciao.